But just Google those. Bazaar of Moxon, Eternal Weekend with Legacy and Vintage Champs, and then Star City LA, all coming up this weekend. A ton of awesome Magic action to be had. Alright guys, so here we are in round this is like a giant train wreck. I think I'm developing a stutter in my old age. It's round 3 of tonight's Friday Night Magic Standard Tournament here at Lost Legion. Just 4 rounds of Swiss tonight, no cut to top 8. Here we've got the 2-0 bracket. On the right, it's Brandon Hart. He's playing a black-green Devotion deck. It's basically mono-black Devotion, splashing for Abrupt Decay and Reaper of the Wild, along with some sideboard cards. And his opponent is Alec Myers, who's playing Colossal Gruul, which is the Makahito Mahara Nykthos Gruul ramp deck. We see him off to the races already. Turn 1 Mystic, turn 2 Traveling Satyr, allows for a turn 3 Arbor Colossus, and then Brandon just scrying with a couple temples and then passing back here. So Brandon's deck not cold to Colossus like some decks might be, though we are seeing Alec here with a Nykthos activating Devotion for green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 mana off of that activation. Here's the combo, untapping Satyr, dropping to 3, adding 5 more, so that's 8. He's going to cast a big Garrick and plus it with 2 green floating. He's going to draw a Caryatid, a Scavenging Ooze, and a creature I could not see. It might have been another Mystic. He's got 2 mana floating here, as long with a Stomping or a Temple untapped. So 3 mana now for a Domri Rod. My goodness, this turn is brutal. He does miss on the Domri activation, but he is going to serve in with the Arbor Colossus, and an ultimate price is going to take it out. And Brandon going to drop down to 19 off of the attack from the Lonely Elvish Mystic. So Alec doing some ridiculous stuff on his turn 4, casting a Garrick, drawing 3 cards, casting a Domri, and then Brandon follows up with a Temple and a Desecration Demon. So we have seen Alec Myers' ultimate Domri Rod on our stream over the course of many standard environments. Looks like he's going to try and do it again here. So activating Garrick only finds 1 creature this time, as he shows a Xenagos to the bottom here. But Alec with virtually unlimited mana here, he's going to go ahead and get Nylea on the board and go from there. So we're going to cast Traveling Satyr, activate Nykthos for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cast 2 Caryatids, untap, now for 8. Cast a Nylea with 4 remaining, cast a Traveling Satyr and a Scavenging Ooze. All of this on Alec's turn 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creatures and 2 planeswalkers against a Lonely Desecration Demon, which at this point, with an active Domri and an active Garrick and all these creatures on board, unlikely to find the mana, or unlikely to ever attack. So Brandon finds Nykthos of his own, but at this point it doesn't actually make any more mana than just tapping for a colorless would. So deciding what he wants to do here, we could cast a Nightveil Spectre and then chain into 5 mana that way off of Nykthos. But at this point, Brandon really needs to try and clear the board. There aren't a lot of creatures, a lot of power on board, but those 2 planeswalkers are getting out of control and locking out his Desecration Demon. So Brandon passes back. He does have access to 5 black mana if he activates Nykthos, so he might be on a removal spell here. Domri misses on the +1. Garrick +1s here, revealing a Nykthos, 2 copies of Nykthos, another Domri, a World Eater, and a Garrick. So pushes 4 very good cards, but does pick up the Pelucranos, which I think at this point can just kill Brandon's board. I don't want to have to do the math here, but we have 3 Traveling Satyrs here. So taps for the Pelucranos. And I can only imagine what the devotion is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 mana, and he can untap twice for 10 more. So that's 32 mana. 32 mana into Pelucranos. So we can give it plus 15 if we want to here. Sweep the board. And then pound in next turn. Well, it looks like that's what he does here. Or at least enough mana to... We're going to eat some stuff with the Scavenging Ooze here in Servants. I'm not sure exactly what went on there, but I think we... Brandon may have just chump blocked there. Obviously, this game is well over. It's going to almost impossible to beat that draw from Alec. Impressive stuff. We see the power of the Makahito Mahara Gruul deck here. Traveling Satyr and Nykthos making a ton of mana. Alec having access to 32 mana on his turn 5, I believe. Pretty good spot to be in, especially when you have a creature that fireballs your opponent's entire board. That's, what was that card from New Phyrexia or whatever that never saw play? So Brandon on the mold of 6 here on the play starts with an Overgrown Tomb and no Elvish Mystic out of Alex, so Brandon doesn't have to worry about the turn 2 Domri this game. Are we going to see a turn 2 Pack Rat from Brandon? That's the question. No, we are not. So he passes back. There we see a Burning Tree Emissary. The trigger resolves, but Alec does not have a follow-up, so a very awkward draw from Alec. He did keep his 7 here. So I'm not sure, because I haven't seen the cards in his hand, so I'm not sure what he kept off, what cards in his hand he kept off the strength of. So not sure what was going on there. Maybe Brandon decided if you want to do something end of turn. Here we see a Duress with targets being Garrick and Domri. And Brandon taking the Domri. We'd see a bunch of business for Alec, but really no way of getting there. He has a huge high end. Colossus, Pelucranos, Garrick, and Nylea, but still on 2 lands here. So was hoping to draw some business, I guess. Just didn't, but looks like Brandon's stuck on 2 lands as well, so this game is kind of awkward. We're just going to see whose deck, the top of whose deck is better for them. There's a Mutavault from Brandon, allowing him to put Underworld Connections on his swamp. There's a Nykthos from Alec, and he had drawn another Domri Rod. But Brandon is going to be able to untap and at least get in there with his Mutavault to keep Domri honest if he wants to. Assuming he doesn't come up with another Abrupt Decay or Hero's Downfall. Chat asking why is he playing with his hand revealed? Well, it's because Brandon resolved the turn 2 Duress, and rather than write it down, Alec's just going to be a nice guy and play with it up. Alec went to bin his Domri there. We're not sure what he was expecting, but Brandon does find a swamp on the top of his deck, and Alec finds an Armor Colossus on the top of his off of a Domri, and there we see a Xenagos. Must have been one of the cards that Alec has drawn over the last couple turns. Going to make a Satyr, and I guess get in there. Brandon very unlikely to block with his Mutavault here. So Brandon didn't serve into Domri here with the Mutavault, choosing instead to leave the 3 mana open, so interesting to see exactly what he casts here. I guess he was going to Hero's Downfall. Probably should have done that on Domri. during Brandon's main phase just to keep it from activating. It cost him an Arbor Colossus in the long run, but he may have been waiting, like we saw, for the possibility of another Planeswalker. So we'll see how that line works out for him here. And there's a Night Veil Spectre, which will keep the Satyr from attacking. We'll be able to rip into Domri there. Domri revealing a Burning Tree Emissary off the top. Pretty big draw for him, as it will allow him to activate his Nykthos, make 3 mana, 4 mana from tapping the 4. So we're going to play a Polukranos, we're going to play a Nylea, we're going to play a Traveling Satyr here and play for the long game. So this can really, Brandon can really take advantage of this situation if he can untap and kill that Traveling Satyr. So Spectre gets in a Domri to keep it off ultimate. Brandon drawing nothing but lands at this point, it seems like. We're going to tick up that Underworld Connections, possibly see if we can find an answer here. Drawing to more copies of Hero's Demise, looking for Abrupt Decays to take care of the Domri or the Traveling Satyr, but no. Alec gets to untap with his Traveling Satyr Nykthos combo. We see the Scryland Domri interaction, leaving a Traveling Satyr on top, activating Domri to draw it. Activating Nykthos for 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Untapping the Nykthos, tapping it again to go up to 6 mana. Playing a big Garruk. Gonna minus it, put the Arbor Colossus into play directly. It looks like this one's slipping away from Brandon as well. Alex stuck on 2 lands, but as soon as he drew the 3rd one, we saw Domri show up, and that was basically enough for him to draw enough business to pull out of his mana issues. So Brandon desperately trying to find a situation in which he can come out of this. If he finds a Nykthos, he has a lot of mana from his double Night Veil Spectre. He's going to leave the card on top off the scry, but he's still facing down a Garruk, a Domri, an Arbor Colossus, but more importantly, a Nykthos and 2 Traveling Satyrs. So Alec basically with unlimited mana here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 green devotion as it is. That's before he adds one of the 2 Polukranos in his hand and another Arbor Colossus. So Brandon, I think maybe just trying to formulate what outs, if any, he still has in his deck. I'm not sure if he's really going to have any here. So tapping 3 here for the 3rd Night Veil Spectre. Not really where you want to be at this stage of the game. Loading up a giant devotion should he ever find a Nykthos, but the question at this point is it going to be good enough? Because we know from that early duress that Alec has the Polukranos in his hand. Domri reveals Keratin. We're going to activate Garruk here, see how many creatures we can draw. There's an Arbor Colossus and another creature that I can't make out. But we know, as we saw in Game 1, we're just Nykthos activation and a couple of untaps away from a Polukranos, wiping out Brandon's entire board, activating Monstrous on his Arbor Colossus, and swinging in for likely lethal here. So activating Nykthos, casting Arbor Colossus and Caryatid, and no, it's Mystic, untapping Nykthos, tapping now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what should be 15 devotion, casting the rest of his hand. Still floating mana. Untap again. Tap now. Cast the Arbor Colossus. So interesting here to see exactly what's going to happen. We monstrous Pelucranos. And serve in with a Colossus, a Burning Tree Emissary, and a Satyr. Doesn't really matter at this point. We know full well that there's no card in Brandon's deck that he can draw to get himself out of this situation. He's going to draw for turn and likely offer up the hand. I'm trying to think of a card. I mean, I guess I was going to say Cyclonic Rift, but he's not playing blue. There's a Lifebane zombie. Let's get that other Pelucranos out of there that we can't cast. Alec going to change for the shiny Pelucranos. The now 15/15 Pelucranos. Brandon going to... He paid his $5 playing the tournament. He's going to get his money's worth. And draws his last card off of Underworld Connections. And unless it's a damnation, unless they... we see a Gray Merchant and a Duress. He's thought seizing himself, I think, here. And that's going to be enough here. Making him play it out, though. Ticking up his Planeswalkers. Ticking up his Planeswalkers. Just attack for the win already. Misses off of the Big Garrick activation somehow. Cast another Burning Tree Emissary. Activate Monstrosity on both of his Arbor Colossus. And tack in for a billion damage. Brandon's going to count it up. And that's going to be it. So we see the power of an unchecked Traveling Satyr along with Nykthos. And that's good enough for Alec Myers to pull one round away from winning tonight's FNM. Remember, 4 rounds of Swiss tonight, no cut to the top 8. Alec moves to 3-0 tonight, and every game we've watched him play this evening has been entirely a blowout, save for the one game where he had the all-mana Dork Straw, did not have a high end, and Dave Brown got him with Gaze of Granite and Merciless Eviction. So, guys, we've got just about 30 minutes left in the round. We'll step outside, see if we can find another feature match. We'll be right back.